guys, welcome back to my channel and time for my year in review. Yes, 2024 has come to a close and overall, I'd say it's actually been a pretty good year for film. We've had a lot of huge tentpole releases, but we've also had a lot of new original stories from up-and-coming filmmakers that have more than made their dent in the filmmaking landscape. Still though, I want to put it out there, I have not given any movie that I have seen this year a 10. It's been a while. I think the last new release that I have given a 10 out of 10 to was Everything Everywhere All at Once. And nothing has just been able to meet that level since. So yes, this is my best movies of 2024. We're going to be looking at my top 10 films that were released in the UK. Sometimes there is a little bit of a discrepancy between release dates in the US and some overseas territories, but this is going squarely off of UK release dates, which might mean that some films that might have been in best of lists last year may show up here. There also might be films that are showing up in a lot of best of 2024 lists for other creators, and I simply just haven't gotten around to seeing them yet. Now, that might be because they either don't come out in the UK until into 2025, or I simply just haven't watched the film. I've watched a lot of films this year. I cannot watch everything, though. And of course, this is my list. These are my personal decisions. Everything about this is subjective, so please feel free to share what your favourite movies of 2024 were in the comments below. As always, I do have a few honourable mentions, films that just missed the mark, but nonetheless, I do want to just share my love for them very briefly. Twisters. This was classic summer blockbuster vibes with another star-making turn from Glenn Powell. The Iron Claw was a devastating account of a heartbreaking tragedy with career-best performances from the entire cast, especially Zac Efron. Better Man, possibly the biggest surprise of the year, featuring extravagant musical sequences, but also a deeply honest heart. And Honora. Quite frankly, one of the most exhilarating cinematic experiences of the year. Part whirlwind romance, part comedy of errors, this might just be Sean Baker's best. So, in at number 10 is a movie that I would advise not having snacks when you watch it.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
Pretty girls should always smile.
The Substance was a bulldozer of a movie, violently and scathingly attacking today's modern beauty standards for women. It's directed by Coralie Farge, whose direction is honestly among the best of the year. It's loud, it's direct, it's completely unforgiving, and at times visually arresting. This is through and through a body horror, and there are buckets of blood, gunk, God knows what else, and yet somehow the most disgusting thing in the film is Dennis Quaid eating shrimp. It features two sensational performances from Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. It's a film that, as I've said before, I wouldn't suggest eating during, but I do suggest watching it when you can. At number 9, well, it might be fictional, but I don't know for how much longer.
Sir? Just
what? Just what?
You know what?
What?
Just please.
Just please.
Sir,
Please,
please.
sir. Yes,
Just
speak.
Let me. We're American journalists.
You told me that already.
Okay. We work for Reuters.
Reuters doesn't sound American.
Okay, it's a news agency.
I know what Reuters is.
Sir, okay. I'm just saying.
Just saying, just what?
We're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you?
When Civil War came out in April, it was pretty harrowing stuff. But now, 8-9 months later, it's less of a fictional account of possible war across a modern America, and more of a very likely glimpse into the future. Alex Garland writes and directs this thoroughly terrifying presentation of a modern day Civil War through the lens of war photographers. It might be sparing with its battlefield sequences, but when they do come, they throw you right in the middle. The sound design is deafening, and it makes you feel like you were on the front lines and how absolutely petrifying that would truly be. The option to tell the story via war photographers actually also acknowledges their bravery, but also the importance of documenting war in all of its truth. It features brilliant performances across the board. Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Kaylee Spaney, even a spine-chilling Jesse Plemons as well. And I appreciate the film for keeping it apolitical. Context isn't important. The horrors of war are. At number 8, well, let's take a look inside our mind, shall we?
Orange? Who made the console orange?
Do I look orange?
I didn't touch
Orange is not my color.
Not me. Hello, everybody. Ah! Oh my gosh, I am just such a huge fan of yours, and now here I am meeting you face to face. Okay, how can I help? I can take notes, get coffee, manage your calendar, walk your dog, carry your things, watch you sleep.
Wow, you have a lot of energy. Maybe you could just stay in one place?
Anything. Just call my name, and I'm here for you.
Okay, love that. And what was your name again?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can get ahead of myself. I'm anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions, and we are just super jazzed to be here. Where can I put my stuff?
What do you mean, we?
When this was announced a few years ago at the D23, I was incredibly concerned that Inside Out 2 was going to be nothing more than a cheap cash grab, with Pixar building on recognizable IP instead of creating new, ingenious stories. And I am very happy to be sitting here right now and tell you all that I was wrong, because Inside Out 2 is a beautiful continuation of Riley's story. The Pixar magicians are continuing to deliver top-level animation that is visually impressive, but also speaks to the human condition so well. The introduction of new emotions was perfectly integrated, and I would say perhaps the most accurate depiction of anxiety and panic attacks that I've ever come across. I thought the first one was lightning in a bottle, but this sequel just proved that Pixar are onto a real winner with these films. At number 7, don your hat, fling your cape around, and find your best broom.
There's a strange exhilaration in such total detestation. It's so pure, so strong. Though I do admit it came on fast, still I do believe that it can last. And I will be loathing for forever, loathing, deeply loathing you. My whole life
Sometimes, when I do my most anticipated of the year lists, I may make bold claims and say this could be one of the biggest films this year. No one is really talking about this enough, and it's really going to be a huge hit. Now, I'm pretty sure that everyone knew that Wicked was going to be one of the big hitters of 2024, but I don't think many people were expecting this to become the biggest film of 2024. Okay, maybe not in terms of box office gross, but everyone has been talking about this well before its release. Culturally, it's a juggernaut, and luckily, it's simply spectacular to watch. I always had faith that John M. Chu, who directed the adaptation of In the Heights, would be able to transform the stage musical of Wicked into a cinematic marvel, and he succeeds. The use of practical sets, dazzling costumes, visual effects where it's needed. This isn't just a musical, this is a blockbuster level musical. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande cement themselves as Elphaba and Glinda for generations to come, and I would be shocked if they aren't nominated for Oscars for each of them. Wicked deservedly captured the world by storm. Okay, so for number 6, we are going to have to be very, very quiet so we don't disturb anything. When I go to the cinema, there are often two things that I want. I either want to be told a story that enraptures me for the entire time, or I want to experience something that I could only experience in a cinema. A Quiet Place Day 1 was an experience, and a thrilling one at that. It had me gripping my armrests the entire time, featuring incredibly tense set pieces that transport audiences into an entirely new setting for this franchise. We are gone from the forests and the woodlands, and we're now, quite frankly, in the worst possible place for an attack such as this, in the middle of New York City. And not just in the middle of New York City, but we're there on day 1, when everyone around us doesn't know how to react. It is absolute carnage, nail-biting terror. It also helps that the film has excellent performances from Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, who, whilst we have all of this cat and mouse games going on, they anchor the film with sincere humanity. It also has a very adorable cat, and that will help any film. At number 5, this film makes one hell of a racket. That's a terrible joke. I am so sorry. Who knew that tennis, of all sports, could be so tense, so cinematic, and so freaking horny? Luca Guadagnino goes for broke in this amazing tale of power and control between 3 aspiring tennis players. They're played by Zendaya, Mike Faist, and Josh O'Connor, and each of them give 3 of the best performances of the year. And you add in Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's pounding score that elevates every single scene, and you are in for one captivating ride. For that final match point, I wasn't just teetering on the edge of my seat, I was bloody hovering. In at number 4, just missing out on my top 3, is a sci-fi thriller that will have maybe not your heart, but something beating out your chest.
Someone talk to me! Kay! Yo! Navarro, what's going on?
Please don't let me die.
4 years, I have been pleading for the Alien franchise to ditch whatever Prometheus mythology Ridley Scott was going for and to go back to its roots and focus on a claustrophobic survival horror. Luckily, enter Fede Alvarez. He is the sadistic mind behind the 2013 Evil Dead remake and Don't Breathe, and he was the perfect fit to helm this. Tension lies around every single corner as our characters are exploring this abandoned space station. The xenomorphs once again feel like the most terrifying creature imaginable. You don't beat them, you simply survive for as long as you can. That is until we encounter the Neomorph at the end, which is legitimately the stuff of nightmares. I still wake up in cold sweats with that image of the Neomorph emerging around the corner engraved into my mind. That being said, though, if Fede Alvarez wants to do any more of these, I will watch every single one that he puts out. In at number 3 is a film that just completely blew me away. However, I don't think I could ever watch it again. Jonathan Glazer directs perhaps the most audacious and also frightening film, not just of 2024, but in recent memory. The Zone of Interest is a harrowing examination of ignorance and complicity during the darkest time in human history, as we witness the everyday life of an SS officer and his family living immediately next to Auschwitz. The film succeeds in the smaller, quieter details where the horror lies. The distant screams, the faint gunshots that you mishear to begin with, the towering presence of the smoke towers, not to mention a devastatingly impactful ending. It is top tier level filmmaking, and I don't ever want to watch it ever again. Number 2 is a film that I don't believe I've actually reviewed on this channel. I never got the chance to put out a video, but it's just a film that stole my heart entirely.
Ready? I guess I have to be.
honestly don't know if many people will have The Wild Robot on their list, let alone at number 2, but what can I say? The Wild Robot was the softest, warmest hug of a film that I have had in all of 2024. I adore the animation style. It's visually like a classic storybook, and it feels hand drawn. You feel the care and the attention that has been put into it. It doesn't appear like it's just been made by a computer. The Wild Robot also has a tender heart about accepting and living together as a community. And I'm also glad it doesn't dumb anything down for kids. And there's this occasional dark sense of humour as nature is presented as simply unfair a lot of the time. But it was the essential bond between Roz and her adopted Gosling son that warmed me tremendously. I cried over a baby goose. That is how much The Wild Robot connected with me. And at number 1, this really should not come as much of a surprise. It entered the number 1 spot in the first quarter of the year, and as great as some of these films that I've listed have been, there was never a film that challenged it for the top spot. I've been doing these videos for a few years now, and I actually think this might be one of the first times in, at least in recent memory, where my number 1 film of the year was actually my number 1 most anticipated film of that year. It's safe to say expectations were high after Denis Villeneuve hit a home run with part 1. But with part 2, it wasn't that he just hit a home run. He hit the ball out the stadium. Dune Part 2 is a prime example of epic cinema. It is the definition of a film that is made to be seen on the big screen. IMAX, if possible. For this sequel, I was enthralled by Paul's journey and overall arc. We knew his destiny from the first film, but in this one, watching that play out and the dangers of being heralded as a messiah and his prophecy being one of just foreboding danger was so intricately well told. It's actually quite audacious for a blockbuster to do such a thing with its lead hero. The action is staggering to behold. No one, and I really do mean no one, films magnitude quite like Denny. The Colosseum sequence, where Austin Butler's Feyd-Rautha emerges for the first time, is one of the best cinematic sequences of 2024, and also blows anything Ridley Scott did in Gladiator 2 clean out of the water. Hans Zimmer as well excels with a score that once again doesn't feel like it was composed on this earth. It was like it was arranged and played and recorded in an alien world. Truly, Dune Part 2 is what the movie-going experience should be about. A film should be able to invest you into a world and its characters, but to also blow you away with never-before-seen visuals. Thank God Denis is coming back for Dune Messiah, because I wouldn't trust the world of Dune in anyone else's hands. So there we have it. Dune Part 2 is my number 1 film of 2024. But the important question is, what's yours? What were your favourite movies of 2024? Let me know in the comments below. Now, as for the rest of my year in review saga that I like to do, I don't typically tend to make a worst of 2024 video. Instead, I'll be sharing my picks over on Twitter or X, but no, let's be real, no one calls it X. So they'll be posted relatively soon, and I'll also be doing a video on my most anticipated films of 2025. And to cap off my year in review, I will, of course, be doing my supercut edit of all the films that have come out in 2024. I love making those videos, and I can't wait to share it with you. But that is all the time we have for today. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.